Over the years, I've developed relationships with Animal Crossing villagers that some would call disturbing and inhuman. However, I like to report on them like I'm some kind of magazine article writer working on a story about somebody who has gone clinically insane. This video is a sequel to the last time I ranked all of my villagers that I've ever had. However, I've met a lot of new faces, I've made a lot more bad decisions, and I need to revisit some people who have wronged me worse since the last time I spoke to them. Revenge is never over, it just gets worse over time. As always, we have a lot of tiers for you to look at uncomfortably and wonder what was going through my head when I made them. Spoiler alert, I cannot tell you. At the top, we have dizziness-inducing back crack. When you hit a bone in your back and it cracks so loud that the Colosseum millions of years ago is clapping for you because they think a gladiator just went down, it is an orgasmic moment, and we all can't deny that. We all need to figure out what is rushing to our head. Is it adrenaline? What kind of chemical is that? Because it makes me want to faint every time, and it's better than any drug I've ever tried. I love cracking my back. I will crack my knuckles. I will crack my neck if I need to. The arthritis thing is a myth, by the way. You're not gonna get arthritis if you keep cracking your bones. Keep being a fucking noisemaker. Don't let the government stop you. Big non-knuckle cracking is trying to come for you, and you need to let that go. You need to live your life the way you want to live your life. And cracking my back until I almost faint is how I want to live it. Next, we have video essay with uncomfortably close to the mic narrator. I'm talking about the 4-hour video essays where the person who's narrating them is so close to the mic that you feel like they're in your body. That is a #1 telltale sign that this person is going to give you some information you never needed to know, and you are going to be smarter by the end of this, okay? A video essay that long and that close to the mic is going to change you as a person and make you into a new being, possibly speed up evolution and make you into a superior survival of the fittest situation. We have guy washing blood off the sidewalk outside Walmart. I saw a guy bleaching the sidewalk outside of my Walmart the other day, and I was very curious about him because he looked very detailed in his work and I could smell the bleach a lot. It was making me very dizzy, but I kind of thought, hey, wonder what's going on with him. But I feel like he looked really cool doing that. So you know what? That's a higher tier than the next tier we're going to, which is Claire's asbestos makeup. In 2019, apparently Claire's had asbestos in their children's makeup, which is not good. That's horrible, actually. Never put asbestos in your children's makeup because that's bad, even though it's very sparkly and pretty. Asbestos makeup is not going to lead you down any good path in the future, and your child might start getting addicted to asbestos and snorting it like Coke, which is why you shouldn't do that, I think. This is not a bottom tier though, and there's a very important reason why, and it's because I think it's funny. Very close to the bottom and very, very slightly above this last one. I mean, they could almost be identical, but there is a difference. We have the Real Friends of WeHo, which apparently is West Hollywood. I don't know. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're lucky. You're one of the lucky ones, but I have to explain this to you for it to really sink in. MTV is making a reality TV show that's supposed to be like The Real Housewives, and it has Todrick Hall in it. And that hurts me. That makes me insane, I think. That is my tipping point, okay? I am a homo myself. I love homo content. I love women. However, this is going to ruin me as a person. Todrick Hall is my worst enemy, and I feel like I could not be contained if I saw him in person. And to put him on TV, you're a sick human being. You're sick. You are twisted. You want me to suffer and die right in front of you. You want my corpse to rot on your porch. It's haunted me every day since I found out about it, and they're really pushing it. They're putting it in between like Drag Race and something else. What is wrong with you? And last but not least, we have a uvula piercing, which I recently found out existed, and I'm very uncomfortable, and I've truly never felt something in my life that made me squirm more. I'm a really big piercing fan. I have piercings, I have tattoos. I am not afraid of needles, okay? I'm not afraid of most piercings. Most piercings do not scare me. I need you to understand this has broken me. What kind of sick fuck do you have to be to sit there, open your mouth, have somebody put a ring in your uvula? You scare me so much more than any threat could ever. I need everybody with a uvula piercing to explain to me in paragraph form why they shouldn't go to jail, and I'm not gonna listen to it, alright? That is electric chair behavior. I don't believe in the death penalty. That is electric chair behavior, okay? Thank you so much. Anyway, that would be every single one of the tiers that we have to go off of, and we have 30 or so of these bitches who I need to put in their place. Literally, actually, I need to drag them into their place where they belong so that I can rank them. That's how ranking works. That's how tier maker works. Chester was hired in my island in 2020-ish to be sort of a guardian sleep paralysis demon, and he did not do his job, and that's why I have a little bit of a vendetta against him, okay? I paid him for this. I tried to move his house, and in the middle of the night he was sleeping. What kind of goddamn cryptid sleeps at night? That's not right. That is wrong. That is a horrifying thought. He is supposed to be some kind of haunted doll who is outside of your home at all times, making you feel uneasy and want to move out. He was meant to make the island into a tourist trap where people would go to get haunted, and it would just be me in a sheet squirting them with a spray bottle full of weird smelling cologne so that they got scared enough to come back. I was trying to make money here, and I was trying to keep myself safe, and Chester was sleeping on the job. He never even came out during the day either. I just noticed the first row, it's everybody twice. I thought that I had enough caffeine inside of me that I would not fuck this up, and I was wrong. Anyway, as I was saying, Chester did not do any of the work that I asked him to, and I feel like he did drown in the lake, which I'm uncomfortable about. I don't like that. That makes me sad, but you get what's coming to you. I did not do it, but I did not cry either. I think that you needed to get your act together, but I'll miss you. I really will. He's not the worst I've ever seen because his aesthetics were truly exactly what I wanted, on par. He came to work in the uniform, he just didn't do the job, so I'm gonna go ahead and put him in Claire's asbestos makeup. He was the asbestos in Claire's makeup. He knew Claire personally, and he was trying to cause disease because he thinks he didn't do enough for me, and he's right, he's correct, but I don't want to see him suffer. I want to see him get better. I may like revenge, but this is not one of the times I want revenge. It's the time I want to see healing. He did not wrong me in a way that I hate him, but he did wrong me in a way that I wish that he would be better. Next we have a villager from my latest island, which is Foreseen, a scene-filled island. In the short time that I've known Barbara since she autofilled on this island, I have concluded that she is some kind of rich fashionista, fashion designer who has moved here and won't tell me that she actually bought the entire island. I'm pretty sure that she owns the whole island now and she's just not letting me know about it. She walks around like this is the place that she has bought with her own money, with her own oil drilling money. If you have the money to buy an entire island, then I'm not gonna piss you off. I would really like some of that inheritance when you're eventually gone. I am a gold digger and I will dig for Barbara. However, I am a big fan of her. She's really beautiful. She's so kind to me and she thinks that I'm some kind of like waitstaff, and that's totally okay. Please don't put me in the oil with all the rest of your ex-employees. I will forever be changing, and the one thing that won't change about me is that I want money at all times. She sent me a $200 gift card for the grocery store for my birthday, and I appreciate that. The inflation is insane, Barbara. It's a banana, Michael. What could it cost? $5? She's the only one in control. She has assumed God's position, and she will not be giving it back. She didn't even have to ask. She just showed up one day and it was hers. God ran away. I'm gonna go ahead and say video essay with uncomfortably close to the mic narrator because she absolutely would do that. I think Barbara would absolutely be very close to the mic when she was narrating because she wants you to know that she is in your head. She is knocking on the corners of your skull, wondering when you're gonna figure out that she was in your past life as well. Mary was on my island way back in the day in 2020 when everybody was obsessed with her and I wanted to join in the crew and I didn't want to be uncool, which thankfully I've moved on now and I've moved on to being completely and utterly annoying, so much so that people don't want to hang out with me. I don't think Mary was quite worth the hype she was given. I will be honest. I hunted for this woman for many tickets. I ended up buying her off of Nookazon when that was a thing, because in the old-fashioned days, we used to go on Nookazon and pay Nook Miles tickets to real people, and then they would spend them on weird-ass furniture to resell and kind of make a Depop-style market where people were inflating the price of goods to their own desire. It was great. It was really a fun demonstration of capitalism. I'd like my 200 Nook Miles tickets back. I know I could go on a treasure island right now and get them back, but I would like them back. I don't think I made the right decision, because all Mary did every single day was sit by a bush and wait for something to happen. She was waiting for life to happen to her. She was asking me to be the writer of her story, and I cannot do that, okay? I listen to the waves as they go past the sea, and I will listen to what they tell me. Your waves are flat, and there are no starfish, and there are no coral in your ecosystem, and that's sad, Mary. I cannot make something out of nothing. I am not God. I cannot turn a rib into another human being, okay? Listen to me. Nobody is going to wait for you anymore. Nobody's going to wait any longer. Nobody's going to stand behind you and wait for you to start moving. They're going to walk around you, and every single time you'll see them walk by and you'll wonder, why is this happening? Follow these people, Mary. I can't keep doing this for you, and I couldn't keep protecting her, and I kicked her off, and I could tell she didn't understand why. Mary, I want you to write your own story. I want you to be the author of a world for yourself, and I cannot be that person. I wish you very much luck, but you were a case that could not be fixed without help. You know, they say that you have to want to help yourself in order to get better, and she didn't want to help herself. So I was the person who's left picking up the pieces. I cleaned out the empty cardboard boxes. She littered, by the way. She left cardboard boxes outside of her house. She was gone. You know, at least I love a good box. You know, when you get older and you start saving cardboard boxes because they're nice cardboard boxes, like, when am I going to use the cardboard box? At some point, I always do use a cardboard box, though. I order all my shit for other people online to their house so I don't have to package it. How often do you fucking mail anything anymore? But I will not stop keeping these goddamn boxes. They are so beautiful to me. And Mary, you know what? Thank you for blessing me with that, because that's all you ever did. Real friends of WeHo, I'm sorry. She is really adorable. The reason she's not in the bottom tier is because she is adorable. Her little double chin is so cute. I love her little blushies, but she is just not for me. I wish her luck. I really do. I wonder where she's at now. What's Mary doing now? What has she done with her life ever since I've left her? Next we have Bob, and a lot of people don't know that I had Bob a long time ago. I did have Bob. I amiiboed him in because I got his amiibo from a friend, and I ended up thinking, you know what, let me fuck around. Everybody seems to love Bob. I want to know what the hype is about. He is the amalgamation of some kind of AI living in your Animal Crossing village. He reads you like he's studying you. He needs to know every single part of your code. He's looking in your brain for wires, and when you don't have any, he seems to hunger for the human flesh that is in there. And you know what, Bob? Okay, You know, I'm not equipped to deal with this professionally, but I did like watching it. I won't lie to you. I did not like him as a person. I did not think that I could become good friends with him. I did not think that he would be in my wedding party. But what I did think is that he was an interesting case study, you know? I was trying to study him back. He wanted to see what was inside of me, and I wanted to see what was inside of him, what he was thinking, what his plans were. It was a true situation of like an actual genuine psychological study here. We were both coming at each other with very different goals, and I think that's because neither of us really got what we wanted. I know nothing about this man. I know nothing about his inner workings other than that he scared me and that he was hunting me. But he never got what he wanted either. And I wonder, every person who's had Bob, is he studying you right now? Are you the science study that worked here? It's interesting, isn't it? There is an entire world that Bob exists in that you may not know you're a part of. You may not know you're playing a role here. I encourage you to think about it. I really do. I encourage you to think, what have I done? Have I given him any information? Because he may be using it for evil purposes. I don't know. I was not the person who was able to give him the information, but I do not blame you for giving him that information. He scares me, but he was a fun ride for me. He was a good amount of adrenaline for me to have at all times. I was on edge, I was in survival mode, but I appreciate that he gave me that rush. He made me feel young. I'm gonna put Bob in guy washing blood off the sidewalk outside Walmart because I feel like he was involved in that. I don't know, maybe he wanted to know what killing felt like. We'll see. Chatter is very recent. I was just able to get him off of my Animal Crossing island in my last villager hunt, and I regret every single day I spent with him. I think it made more wrinkles in my head than sun exposure ever will. I think that I contracted a sort of black mold sickness from him, and that's making me very uncomfortable to think about. He's very much a botfly in my shoulder that somebody has to surgically remove. This man taunted me. He came to my island, he pushed through the doors, he walked out of that plane like he knew exactly what he was doing. Like he had every single weapon on his body that he needed and he was ready to take flesh. He was gathering organs for the black market, and yet he didn't even take any because he was so enthralled with the thought of how angry I was all the time. He fed off of it. And you know what? I gave in. I gave in to Chatter, and I regret it every single day. I could have just walked by, I could have just ignored him like any normal person would have, and it makes me highly uncomfortable to know that I didn't do that, but I couldn't help it, okay? This was an emotional response. This was a strong, horrible emotional response. He got there before any other law enforcement can get there. You know it's a lawless wasteland in this goddamn island, and you know what? I hate cops, but I know that the second something went wrong that I was involved in, Tom Nook would be calling the UN and getting me out of here. But the second anybody wrongs me, it's their fault. I need to deal with it. Okay, I need to be an adult about this. You would have called the cops on me if I had sliced Chatter like the cheese he is, okay? I need you to understand that there is a double standard here that is disgusting, and Chatter was perpetrating it. Chatter is the biggest perpetrator of treason you will ever see. He is on the UN board as well, so he could have reported me too. He knew I was in this position where it was either keep my safety in check or do what I really wanted to do, or be my true self, or make a move, make a bold move. And you know what? I chose to keep myself safe because I have too many people here that I love, and he knew that. He preyed upon that. And that's why Chatter is going into uvula piercing, because I want to rip him out. May God never rest your soul, Chatter. Gonzo. Gonzo is an interesting case here because I feel like we really changed over time. We had a blossoming relationship here. When Gonzo first autofilled, I didn't like him that much. I felt like he wasn't great. He wasn't very attentive. He wasn't very nice. He was just giving old man vibes that I couldn't deal with. Be nice to elders, but an elder did just get arrested in my town for going 90 on a normal road, so I don't know, be careful around your elders, I guess, if they're in cars. When Gonzo first got here, I had no trust for him. I left him alone though. I didn't want to cause him any harm. I didn't want to cause him any inconvenience, but I did want to stay away from him and keep my distance. And he was constantly walking around, seeming normal, seeming like he was having a good life, and you know what? I'm proud of him for that. And I kept that feeling in my heart for a while. I didn't want to talk to him. I was making snide comments about him. I was trying to keep it to myself, but make it known. And then, two people that I will talk about a little bit later, their names were Sylvana and Deirdre. These two people were being pursued by somebody else, were being fucked around by somebody else, and you know what happened? You know what fucking happened? Gonzo stuck up for them. Gonzo was the grandpa in this situation. Gonzo walked Deirdre back to her home. Gonzo took good care of both of them and was kind to them and made sure that they always had a place with a warm fire near them, and I grew a respect for him. I truly saw something in Gonzo that I hadn't seen before. I saw a man with a caring heart who had a huge want to care for other people. And suddenly, I was seeing the man that I never thought I would see. I never thought I would see Gonzo being a recovering asshole, you know? I walked up to him. I said, hi, you know, I want to talk to you now. Let's get a relationship going. Let's have a dialogue here because I think that you have changed my mind about you. Deirdre and Sylvana were my children. And you know what? When I wasn't there to protect them, he was. I became good friends with him. I went to his bingo nights. I helped cook him meals when the snow was falling, and I think I am in his will now, which is fantastic. Gonzo really showed me that humanity has a way of taking care of itself and taking care of others, and that the real evolution of society was Gonzo bringing Deirdre home. So I want to give all of my respect to Gonzo here. Honestly, I really do. I want to tell Gonzo that he has made such an impact on my life and other people's lives, and we all know that Gonzo is here to keep us safe. Gonzo's going in video essay with uncomfortably close to the mic narrator because he is old and he would get so close to the mic because he can't hear himself speak that you would have to edit the audio so it isn't a constant blowout and screaming, screeching, buzzing noise. Thank you, Gonzo. So you may recall, if you've watched the last video, that Ione was here last time. Things have changed a little bit. There have been some developments, and I feel like I need to reassess this. To be honest with you, I feel like I need to reassess Miss Ione and her role in this, because that is an outdated take. That is an outdated take. I have an outdated report, so I'm about to correct my story, okay? Ione, my dear, Ione was my girlfriend. After Phoebe had wronged me, after Amelia had ganged up with her on me, after everybody had treated me horribly, Ione came to the rescue. And in a way, maybe she didn't. In a way, maybe it was me rescuing myself with the help of somebody else, but I digress. Ione and I were very, very close to each other for a long time. We were together, we were always talking, we were always protecting each other. I was really happy in that relationship, honestly, I was. I felt good about where it was going. I felt like we had a future together. I was thinking of a house in maybe Santa Fe, New Mexico together. We could own some dogs, we could have a little small business where we bake every day and she could make star-themed cupcakes. I was really committed. Ione and I were the strongest relationship I had had, especially with the tumultuous area that Phoebe had given me. But unfortunately, some fairy tales do not end the way we all want them to. Some things do not happen the way we want them to. Sometimes everything that seems destined to go a certain way will pull a flip-flop on you, and that's exactly what happened with Ione. I ended up going to a different island and asking Ione to come with me. I told her that I would meet her on a mystery island and we would come back and we would get our house together on this new island. She wanted to come with me. She wanted to start a new life, and I was excited about it. I was excited to have something new with my girl. And then she never came. And then she wouldn't answer my phone calls, and she wouldn't come to any islands. She completely ghosted me out of nowhere, and I thought things were going really well. And if she wanted to break up, she could have just said it before I got a new house, a new island, before I packed up all of my stuff and got ready to meet her there. I had to sit there thinking that something was going to work out, that I was eventually going to get that call. But you're a uvula piercing with the other motherfucker, okay? The other person that wronged me now. So I'm glad to say that I've moved on. I built you a house with Phoebe. I've moved on. She responded to that call, by the way. When I said, hey, can I redo your house? She responded to that and then tried to get back with me. So next we have Nana, who showed up on one of my islands uninvited at one point, and I'm still not 100% sure why. She acted like a shell of a human being. I think she came here after some kind of life event that made her question her reality and maybe change religion. I think that Nana was possibly a former Mormon. She showed up in the most off-putting way I've ever experienced. She walked around, she stood outside of her house just staring, looking into your eyes like she was trying to figure out whether you were going to heaven or hell. She gave off the vibes that she had ran a Bible study group for years and decided to move on, but she was guilty about it. However, Nana, you scared the hell out of me. I ended up deleting that island because it felt so wrong after she was there. It felt vacant. It felt like there were souls there that needed to be expelled, okay? It was haunted, and not the good haunted, not ghost haunted. I mean haunted by like memories and envy. It was haunted by unfulfilled justice, and that was horrifying to me, Nana. That was your doing. That was something that you did, something that you created, and that makes me highly uncomfortable, okay? That makes me highly weirded out. I don't think that's okay. I don't want to see your souls floating around here. That is not something you needed to bring to somebody else. Those are demons you have to deal with, Nana. Real friends of WeHo, I fear. She would think that that was a good idea, but like in the way that she would think that it would grab the sinful masses, you know what I mean? Next we have Static, who just autofilled on my island as well. I did a bunch of autofills, so you might hear that a lot. However, Static was an interesting one because I feel like he was my Winter Soldier. I've never watched a Marvel movie in my life, and I don't plan to. They don't seem interesting to me. I think that he saved me. He was the savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned. That was a horrible string of autofills I had there, other than Barbara. And Static was the person who showed up. He was the person who stepped in. He said, no more of this. I can't let this just one plot be filled by anybody else. Static is my hero. Static saved me from a lifetime of hell. He was the person that I got out of that made it feel like it was all worth it. And I said, thank you, Static. Thank you. You know exactly what you're doing. You are one of the only bitches who is real in this household. And I appreciate him for that every day. Look at him. He was the perfect scene man for this island. He knew exactly where he belonged, and it was in this home. He knew he would get a perfect place to live. Thank you so much, Static. You have saved people. Dizziness-inducing back crack, because I know full well that when he stands up, he passes out. Stella! Oh my god. I have barely mixed feelings about Stella, but I do want to first of all sing my praises for her. She is the kindest person I've ever met. She has no ulterior motives. She has sat there every single day being kind with nothing expected in return. She bakes, she quilts. She reminds me of a soothing cup of sleepy time tea that will put me to bed very quickly. She came here to be kind. She came here to spread some love that nobody else has. I've been thinking about having Stella for years, and this year I finally got to do it. This year Stella was finally the person who I got to see and I got to love. She learned how to sew her own clothes when she was 5 years old, and she makes beautiful knitted sweaters now. She did hit on me. That's okay. That's fine. You know, she has backed off lately when I told her that I was with somebody else who we'll get to later, but it was a little bit odd to have to break that to her that I was not interested. I wasn't even in a relationship at that moment, but I was just not interested in her in that way. And it was a sad moment for me. It caused me a lot of stress, but I'm glad she was honest with me, and I'm glad that I got to still remain friends with her after that. She is a sweetheart. She has very big dreams that she wants to follow, but she feels like she's not good enough for it. And you know what, Stella? You are. I will be the first person to come to the showing of that. I think she should pursue whatever she's gonna go with because she will excel at it. She will be the person who blows it out of the water, who starts a new genre of art, and yet she can't take that chance. And I want her to know that she is supported and she is held up and uplifted in this community, even if it's just by me, because everybody else in this goddamn town sucks. But me and Fuchsia, we will be by your side at all times, Stella. We know that there is something inside of your heart that will truly change the industry. We love you, baby. Dizziness-inducing back crack as well. Once I set the record straight, she left me alone like any reasonable person would. Don't chase people. Tangy has thrown me for an absolute loop. Tangy is the person who has been hot and cold, yes and no, in and out, up and down. Alright, she is Katy Perry in this situation. She has thrown me into whiplash more times than I would like to count. She has crashed the car a couple times and then bought me a new one right after that. And I can't tell you how much it's exhausting living with that. I won't lie to you. She has been extremely rude to me. And then the next day, she loves me. The next day, she is absolutely begging on her knees to go out shopping with me. And I wonder what is switching back and forth in her brain. Because, you know, like, we're all crazy here. We're all insane here. But what am I doing that's making you switch back and forth here? I never know what it's gonna be. And sometimes I'm too exhausted to talk to her because she's just swinging me by the throat back and forth. I've never had Tangy before this island, and she was not what I was expecting, okay? I was expecting a very eccentric person, but not like this. She adds a lot of flavor and spice into my life, and I appreciate that, but damn, I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't have the time for this. I have to go do shit. I can't be constantly worrying if I'm upsetting you or not. And yet I keep crawling back to her because sometimes she's the best. Sometimes she gets revenge on other people for me. Sometimes she yells at Mott. And that's enough for me to keep going, to keep being her friend. Claire's asbestos makeup. She is a Claire's asbestos makeup girly. She put the asbestos in the Claire's makeup as well. She was teaming up with Chaster. I am so tired. I'm so exhausted. I can't handle it anymore. This is such a strain on my heart and on my head at all times. I cannot honestly believe how she's gotten away with this her whole life. It's like somebody has to have told you before. Did you just ignore it? Anyway, Tangy, have a good one. Butch is very special to me because I got him in 2020. He was another villager that I got at the very beginning of the game, and I pulled him onto my island. I walked into his house, and the immense disappointment I felt when I found out his home was a gas station has never been in my heart before. It was a devastation that scientists have not yet categorized. It was a new chemical in my brain, going through it and killing every cell like Chernobyl. I feel like I make a lot of Chernobyl jokes, and I don't know why. I'm just constantly thinking about Chernobyl. I've never had a hyperfixation on Chernobyl before, but it's constantly on my brain, on my mind at all times, and I'll keep making Chernobyl jokes, I think, actually. I don't know why it's a personality trait for me now, but I think my middle name should be Chernobyl. Salem Chernobyl. I felt complete devastation, and he was actually with me when I was moving houses, and I put him up for adoption the day I left my house. I was playing on my Switch the day I left my house, and I put him up for adoption in a server, and I accidentally called him bitch, and then I laughed, and then I realized I was leaving my house, and I started crying. So he made me laugh cry, and then I actually ended up throwing up because I cried so hard. So Butch has cost me a lot, but I feel like it was a very exciting time in my life, and he was helpful with that. He made the transition a lot worse, but I think I needed a kick in the ass, to be honest with you, and he was gonna deliver it. So Butch, you're interesting. You're an interesting man. You are full of disappointment, and yet I don't blame you for it. I don't feel like it was your fault, even though it was everything that you did that was your fault. Butch had no involvement in it, and yet he he had all the involvement of it. He was a decoy in the background. He was a set piece to me. He was a prop. He was an NPC. He might have been delivering the quest, but he sure as hell had nothing to do with them. And that's what I think is so interesting about Butch, is that he is a side character with influence on the story. He has no personality, but he is moving the plot along. Real Friends of WeHo, I think, actually. That's where he's going. I'm sorry. I do still hate him for all he's done, and I just don't hate him in the way that I would hate Chatter. It was nothing personal. Caesar is on my island right now, and by God, I feel like I just need to fucking throw him out the window. He has been following people. He has been staring into people's windows. He has been sitting outside with some kind of menacing sweat dripping down his head. He feels like he's gonna burst at any time. He's a ticking time bomb, and he just wants to watch people. He wants to watch them run. He wants to take out his camera and snap a picture of somebody, and I don't allow that. I don't think that's funny. He was looking at my girlfriend the other day. I don't think that's funny. I don't think that's hilarious. I don't think I'm laughing right now. Do I sound like I'm laughing? Do I sound like I'm at a stand-up comedy special where it's somebody who's actually funny, which is the rarest thing on earth? I don't know. Do I seem like that, Caesar? No, I don't. No, I don't. I think that you need to dig your heels into the sand and start walking backward. I think you need to trip on your own shoe back into the airport and find yourself on a plane to wherever hellhole you came from, because this is not the place for those kind of shenanigans. This is not the place for those kind of disgusting behaviors. I think you need to seek help. And you know what? Now I'm not afraid anymore. You're not on the UN board. No, you are not. Do you want to try it? Do you want to try getting close to anybody else? I don't even care if you get close to like Maud or something. I will drill you into the ground. You do not have any qualities about you that are redeeming. And he rejoices in the thought of other people suffering. He drinks it from a skull. He feels people's pain and he absorbs it like a sponge. He's some kind of horrifying amalgamation of human suffering over the years in a cave painting form. I hate Caesar so much. Uvula piercing. The 180 we're about to do. The complete backwards step we're about to do. Fuchsia. And I also did Fuchsia in my last ranking, but again, things have changed. Fuchsia was the starter on my latest island and also the successor to Ione. Me and Fuchsia were good friends from the beginning. I put my house right next to her because I thought she was really cute. I thought that she was adorable. I thought that there was something there. We're both very into this aesthetic. She showed up to a scene island because she knew it was the place for her. Sort of like Static, but she was going to help me build it from the ground up. She's going to tell you what's going on, exactly what she wants. The past Christmas, I finally confirmed things when I got her a really cute ski jacket and she started wearing it everywhere. I finally confirmed that things were working between us, and I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to say, hey, do you want to go on a date or anything? But then, in the most recent live stream I've done, Fuchsia showed up to my house and said that she didn't want to leave and said that she thought I was precious and that she felt safe in my house. And you know what? We sealed the deal. We are officially people who won, who are in love, and Fuchsia did it in this way that I knew she cared. Unlike Ione, unlike Phoebe, she took control and she said, I want to do this. Do you want to do this? And I said, yes, I do. She even wore the sunglasses I had bought for her that day. She came over just to show me that she was wearing them. And Fuchsia, you know what? I think that we have something that's gonna last. Dizziness-inducing back crack, Fuchsia. I'm so excited to see what the future has in store for us. I think that you have really won me over, really won over my heart. Thank you, Fuchsia. Also, she has piercings, which is great. Not a uvula one, though. Sprinkle was not somebody I expected to love in the way that I did. Sprinkle was the first Peppy I ever grabbed because I was tired of villager hunting on an island before this one. Sprinkle was there with me from day 3 or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't counting the days. I don't have a calendar. You couldn't ask me to tell you what day it was right now because I don't know. I'm just alive, okay? As long as it's not a Monday, I know exactly what day it isn't. And I grew pretty fond of Sprinkle. To be honest with you, we would chat, we would get some coffee together, we would sit in the cafe and giggle at each other. It was fantastic. I felt like I had a real friend here. I had a real friend going. We got to talk about Sylvana and Deirdre and how cute they were. We had a friendship that I hadn't had in forever. We had a friendship where we just sat there and we acted like we had known each other for years. We were able to have real friendship activities instead of flopping back and forth or having issues constantly or anything like that. She stayed by my side, but not in a way that I was overwhelmed. And it was the toughest decision ever to have to leave her in the end because I did not want to. I was so surprised that things had ended this way. I was so surprised that I'd grown so fond of Sprinkle, but she had just become a staple in my life. She had become a sense of stability that I'd never had on Animal Crossing Islands before. And that's why I think I fell so head over heels for her friendship. I yearn for something like this again. I think I'm starting to get it with Stella, but we're not quite at that point anymore, and there has been a bit of a rocky start to this, but at some point I hope hope that me and Stella can cope together with this. Sprinkle, you're fucking real. Video essay with uncomfortably close to the mic narrator, I think. I love you, Sprinkle. Sylvana, one half of Sylvana and Deirdre, the dream team. It wasn't always that way though, and I get to talk about that later. However, Sylvana is somebody I have had on 2 different islands, okay? She is such a sweetheart. She has such a good head on her shoulders. She is so intelligent. She's a very relaxed friend. She's somebody that you don't have to be around all the time, but you still love each other very much. Sylvana and I have spent a lot of time together. Sylvana is somebody that I found in my heart a long time ago. And she has this way of, how do I say this? Being a player, or at least she used to until she met Deirdre. She may look cute and unassuming. That is exactly how Sylvana gets you. She has this really specialized way of looking at you and saying, okay, you're my target now, and we're gonna work this out. And she does. And that's why she was so much fun to be around, because she was just a wild card. She was never gonna settle down. And I thought that was true. I really thought that was true. And then we moved on to this new island, and she was bouncing around a little bit like she always did, and then she found Deirdre. And I thought, this is just another thing that she's gonna go with. It's not gonna be Sylvana and Deirdre forever. She'll probably move on to Cherry pretty soon. Nope, they settled down. I think they're close to getting engaged now. Deirdre and Sylvana were the couple I never knew I needed. I never knew that I was going to be in the bridal party, and yet here we are. Sylvana and Deirdre found each other in a way that I never thought 2 people could find each other, and I appreciate her so much. I am so glad that she had so much fun back in the day. It was so fun to watch, but she's getting older now, and she decided to settle down, and I'm proud of her for that. Sylvana, video essay with uncomfortably close to the mic narrator. I love ya. We're great for each other, but Deirdre's even better for her. Gail. This is gonna surprise some people. Let me take a long, disgusting sip of coffee real quick. Okay. I had been hunting for Gail a long time when she eventually came into my possession, I guess, came into my island's area, and I thought that she would be the perfect addition. I love pink. I honestly do really love pink. Even pastels. I like pastels a lot. I may be an emo bitch, but I love pastels still. I love almost any color, and pastels are some of my favorites. She seemed like the lesbian that my island needed. She seemed like somebody that I could really trust to keep things peaceful. No, she hated me. She got into fights with my favorite villagers, and then she would go around, she would walk around and just pretend nothing happened. She would come up to me and side-eye me, and then go try and talk to somebody else and think that they were best friends. She would try and make me jealous with best friends, and you know what? I wasn't jealous at all. I never started being jealous, and now I've learned my lesson, you know? Don't judge people by the way that you predeterminedly think that they're gonna act, because she might bite you in the ass. Real friends of WeHo. I still think she's an adorable design though, and I love her. To be honest with you, I couldn't put her in the bottom tier. She's too cute. An absolute asshole though. Don't trust the Gail in apartment 23. She will wreck your life. And I'm glad that I had really strong relationships and friendships at the time, because otherwise I would be in shambles too. Deli, the last autofill from my new island. I have talked shit about Deli for years, and you know what? This is my fault, I think. This is honestly my fault, because I have been saying so much bullshit about him this whole time, and he decided to show up. He decided to say, okay, say it to my face. And you know what? I will. Deli, your grandpa Monty has been stalking me on islands for years now, and I think that you need to calm down. You need to stop looking at me like that. His pupils are dilated like he has done more meth than the President of the United States of meth. He is not safe to be around, and he wants revenge for his grandpa, but he also wants revenge for himself, because I've been talking so much shit, and I appreciate that, you know? I can appreciate anybody with a vendetta. However, it was your grandpa's fault that I was ever mad at you. Me and your grandpa need to settle something, but you need to stay out of this. This isn't your fight. This isn't your issue, and it just makes me mad that you're here trying to settle this for him, because he needs to get his ass together and do it himself. Deli, you are not the messenger. You are not the person who needs to be responsible for your grandpa's sins, okay? Monty did what he did, and now you have the choice to either continue that cycle, which is what you're doing right now, or end it. And I would say go for it. End it. Uvula piercing, okay? Thank you. Maple is one of my best friend's favorite villagers, so I really do try to keep the respect with her at all times. However, she has autofilled the same plot on my first island 3 times. 3 separate times, and she's lived in that same plot 3 separate times, okay? I got her once, and then I kicked her out. She didn't do anything wrong. Just wanted a change. She's very cute. So I wanted a little bit of a change. I wanted a change of scenery. I wanted somebody new. She autofilled the same plot after she left, and I have never seen the guts on somebody like that, okay? She said, I don't think so. It takes a lot to scare me. She wanted to be on this island so badly, and I don't know why, because it wasn't even a nice place at the time. I wasn't trying to make some kind of Hilton hotel. It was a place that was shitty. It was my first island, okay? I wasn't good at designing. I had nothing to offer here, and I just wanted a change of scenery, and she could not handle that. She had to come back. And so I keep it civil. I cannot respect her in private because of how many times time she followed me. She hasn't done it since then. I think she is now scared of me and what I've become. However, I cannot forget that. I just can't forgive that. That is some kind of stalker shit. And that's why I'm gonna put her on guy washing blood off the sidewalk outside Walmart, because I feel like she has truly shown the same restraint that he has, the same coolness about what she's done, the same lack of remorse, but also knowing when to clean things up, because she has been calm around me lately. Meringue. I don't understand what my relationship with Meringue is, to be honest with you, because I bought her off of Nookazon, like paid Nook Miles tickets for her 2 times, and I didn't like her either time. To be clear with you, I was not a fan of her either time this happened. She's a mystery to me because I have almost no memories of her other than getting her twice. Why did I do that? This is baffling, and that's why I included her here, because I was trying to jog a memory of what was going on with her, but I just can't. I don't know what happened here. I don't know why she has been living in the back of my head for years, why I haven't been able to kick that memory off. I don't know what kind of spell she has on me here, but I have no singular memories other than the amount of times that I got her. What kind of aromatic potion did she cook for me before she left? Because I have no recollection of ever having a conversation with this woman, and yet I had her 2 times for multiple months each time. She is like the DB Cooper of my lifetime. Scary. I'm gonna put her in Claire's asbestos makeup because I like the fact that she arrived in a curse. She did nothing to me, yet made this sort of impression on me that I can't get rid of. That's spooky and fun. Peaches, who this tear maker decided to cut the head off of, she was an autofill as well. I have a problem with autofilling, okay? I only had her for 1 day, but now when I see her, my eyes turn red and they start leaking blood. It's a really unfortunate scene. She left a gash in my stomach. I had to go to the hospital after that. When I tried to kick her out, I brought her to the airport in handcuffs, and she had hidden a razor blade under her tongue and actually sliced me open with that. I had to go to the hospital. There's no metal detectors in the Animal Crossing airport because Animal Crossing 9/11 has not happened yet. However, I do know that this was a very calculated effort. I feel like she was sent as a vigilante to me, and I don't know how to feel about that. I would love to know who sent her, because I know full well that she had no problems with me. I don't understand why she would stab me. But who were you? Who was the coward who sent somebody else to do their dirty bidding? Who were you? Because if you can't come to me face to face, you don't deserve my time. You don't deserve to slash me in the gut. Do it yourself with your own knife and taste the blood off of me yourself. I don't think so, buddy. I don't think you get away with murder if you didn't even commit it, okay? Don't send Peaches after me. Don't send the X's for eyes horse after me. Ooh, I'm so scared. Razor blade under the tongue ass horse. Anyway, uvula piercing. Horrible, horrible time of my life. I don't think so. Who sent you, Peaches? Seriously. Rattle just moved in. He was the person that I villager hunted for in my last island who replaced Chatter, and I just want to thank him for replacing Chatter. So thank you, Rattle. He saved my life. He saved me as a person. He made sure that I was safe, and he is now living here very happily. I can't wait to make him a beautiful clinic in my new home, and he will save all of us in the future as well. He's really living up to his profession. Dizziness-inducing back crack. Love him. Sherry was on an island reset that I did not have for very long. I gave up on that island very quickly. This was pre-YouTube times. I did not want to do it. This was a time before I really got to know villagers as well as I did when they were my starters. She came, she saw, and she left, but she left piss everywhere she went, which, I mean, you know what? I get it. I understand, but this is not the way to do things. We don't really appreciate that. You should clean up the piss after you do that. However, she had the vibes of somebody who would only shop at Costco without a Costco card, and every time she got kicked out of Costco, she would cry and say that her card just got stolen, and it would happen over and over again. She would make sure that there were different employees at Costco every time, and then she would walk in and she would say like, hey, I have a Costco card membership. My card got stolen with a Costco card in it. And then they would say, hey, okay, what's your name? We can look you up. And she would come up with some fake name, but it was a really common name in our city. So every time she would say, okay, here's my fake name, and they would let her in. And you know what? I appreciate a scamming bitch, but you know what the problem was? You know what the problem I have with Shari was? Sorry, coffee sip. You know what the problem I had with Sherry was? She didn't let me come with her. I was housing her and she went to all of the trouble of faking this identity, and yet she wouldn't let me go to Costco with her. Claire's asbestos makeup. Klaus is a fucking menace. This was another campsite villager, because if you don't know me, I'm a chronic resetter. I love it. It is a beautiful, horrifying rush of adrenaline in my head that makes me woozy and dizzy, and I love it so much. He ended up selling amphetamines outside of my home, and they were stolen from me because I have to take Adderall every day to function. He was trying to make my life a living hell. My Adderall kept going missing. It was him the whole time, and I don't know what to do about that, to be honest with you. I find it really sick that he's sitting here staring me in the face and thinking that he did no wrong, okay? I would have helped him. If he wanted help, I could have helped him. But instead, I went a little bit insane for a while. I did end up trying to kill him on my island, and that was a really rough situation, especially because he's dressed like Julius Caesar. But I also celebrate the Ides of March because I think it's funny to be stabbed by that many people. And also, it's very right, it's very true, because I did hate Klaus as much as Brutus hated Caesar. It was a very real reenactment reenactment. History always overlaps and repeats itself, and that was me doing my part in that. He almost got killed again, and I don't know where he is now. Uvula piercing. Yuka! Hi, Yuka. Hello, my darling. Not really. She was so mean to me. Yuka came to my island as a senior citizen, sort of like Gonzo, but she's the other path you can take where it just doesn't work out and she's rude. She judged everything I did. She was like a little parrot on my shoulder telling me exactly what I did wrong, and she always had this Dior lip gloss that she would put on really slowly and annoyingly. It was a disgusting area of time. It was a disgusting time in my life where I just didn't want to do anything because Yuka would be there and I hadn't even said hi to her before, and I was like gardening. I was outside of my house putting some flowers down, putting some rose bushes down, even though I don't like roses that much. And Yuka knelt down and she said, "Oh, you bought the cheap fertilizer?" "Yeah, motherfucker, I'm not spending $30 on a bag of fertilizer for my roses. I don't even like roses that much." And you know what? She grabbed her Dior lip gloss out of her pocket and she put it on her lips. Real friends of WeHo. Fuck you. Biff was the person who made me decide to delete my last island, and I'm so serious about that because I didn't want to amiibo him out. That is a shade of red that I hate, okay? I am a big fan of red, but I hate that shade because it's so rusty. I don't like it. It reminds me of old, decayed barn doors. A piece of rotting wood floating outside of my home. The nasty-ass Sharpie eyebrows. Everything about him made me decide, you know what? Maybe it is time. Maybe it has been 3 months and I can delete my island again. Claire's asbestos makeup only because restarting the island allowed me to meet the love of my life here, okay? It allowed me to see Ione for what she really was. So you helped there, okay? You helped there. God damn it. I got Boomer in 2021, very early 2021, because I had a cat named Boomer when I was a little very baby, who was a senior cat. He was absolutely huge. He hated people so much that he would try and scratch anybody who touched him, and he meant business. He wanted to draw blood, except for me. He really liked me and he let me sleep and snuggle with him when I was a little baby, and I loved that cat to death. So when I saw that there was a villager named Boomer, I wanted that villager. When I tell you I was fucking disappointed, I cannot tell you how weird of a man this is, okay? And I'm a very weird person. But this one, he collected little jars full of dried bugs, and I asked him, I said, "What are those for?" He said, "I just like them." His catchphrase is human. I wasn't a big fan of that. He might be DB Cooper himself. He might be, I think. I'm pretty sure he is. He is a retired flight pilot, but won't tell me what his last name is. He has a really uncomfortable thing, and his name is Boomer, so that could be his middle name. DB. This guy was the one who fucking hijacked a plane, I think. I think that Boomer was the person who did this. He's the person we've been hunting for years. He does not have any more emotions. He had to erase all of them for the regret to not kill him. Okay, he heard the heartbeat under the floorboards and he regrets it every day of his life. Claire's asbestos makeup. Thanks for being named after my dead cat. Cherry was a lot more uneventful than I wished she was. She almost had a fling with Sylvana, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I saw them almost have a fling, and I would have been supportive of that if not for Deirdre. I wanted to at least have a rebound with Cherry, but she was not that interested. She was pretty keeping to herself, I understand, lone wolf stuff, but I never really got to know her. I thought that she was just a recluse and she wanted to keep it that way, and I don't budge on people, okay? I'm not gonna barge into your life and try and ask you a bunch of questions because you don't want to talk, alright? You can have the total right to keep things to yourself. But then I can't really say anything good or bad about her. I ended up having my rebound with Lottie. I don't know. I wish that I'd gotten to know more about her, and I wonder what Sylvana knows about her. I should ask at some point, like call and see how she's doing and see how everything's going and say, hey, what did you think of Cherry when Cherry was here? I know you two were talking a little bit. I would really like to know more about this woman. Maybe at some point I would be interested in having her back on an island to see how she is, see if I can get to know her a little bit better, but for right now, I'm gonna say guy washing blood off the sidewalk outside Walmart, cool from afar, don't know anything about what was going on there. Serrano is somebody that I cannot even begin to explain my relationship with. He was a person who showed up and I thought that he was some kind of messenger of evil. I thought he was a horseman of the apocalypse. I thought that he was the world's next biggest serial killer. I thought that he was about to commit a crime and he did nothing. That's what pissed me off the most about it. He did nothing wrong. He just walked around. We talked a couple times and he was normal, and yet he had such a sinister look on his face at all times, and I want to know what he did. You know, when am I gonna find the bones? When am I gonna find the fucking bones? When am I gonna find the cremated remains buried in their urn? When am I gonna have to mail them to somebody? You know, it's so off-putting to me that I don't know what he caused, what he did, where he's going, where he's gonna be. I never know if he's gonna be around the corner. Does he have unfinished business? Does he have something that he wanted to complete but I never let him do it? Uvula piercing, go to hell. Tell me what you were doing here. Tell me why you were ever here. I don't understand. Marshall, my baby. Marshall was my campsite villager a little while ago. One of my best campsite villagers I've ever gotten. I loved him so much. He was such a good confidant. We had so many movie nights, and by movie nights I mean we watched House Hunters and yelled at people. It was a beautiful friendship. It was similar to the friendship I had with Sprinkle, but it was a lot more drama filled, and not between us, but that's all we talked about. We always talked about people who were wronging us at the time. He made the best coffee in the world, and he was very special to me. He was an emo bitch. We had a lot of good times. We went to a couple concerts together, and he has such a special place in my heart that nobody will ever be able to touch because we really connected immediately. We had an immediate connection. I hear that he is now in New York running a coffee shop with his good, delicious coffee that specializes in topping all of their coffees with chocolate-covered espresso beans. That's so cool. I'm proud of him. I always knew he would turn into something. You know, I was always there in the background rooting for him. I always knew he would do something great, but the times we shared, even if he didn't ever do anything great, were good enough. Video essay with uncomfortably close to the mic narrator, one of my favorite things. So you may be wondering why Olive's here, if I've never mentioned her before, and it's because I recently found a text message who I had sent to somebody who was my real-life best friend at the time in 2021, and it unearthed something that I didn't remember. I guess me and Olive had a thing for a little bit. I can't tell you any details about that, because I don't know what the hell was going on there. I couldn't tell you, okay? I have no recollection of this. And apparently I was texting a friend about it. Olive, I'm sorry. I wonder how you're doing now, really. I'm curious about how that happened. I know she lived on my island for a while, but I didn't know anything happened. I'm really sorry about that, but I feel like it's time I came clean about that because I didn't know about it either. Guy washing blood off the sidewalk outside Walmart because I'm confused. But I mean, I have no bad feelings towards her, so I guess it was fine. Call back to earlier. Remember when I said Sylvana was a player? A former player, I guess. This was the original person that I found out she was a player with, okay? Portia was her first fling, and she and Portia visited each other constantly. It was not a relationship, it was more a friends with benefits relationship that we had here. And then she completely moved on. And you know who she moved on with? Mary. Mary was the next one. The first time I ever walked into Portia's completely furnished house when she wasn't moving in was to be with Sylvana. And I've asked Sylvana multiple times, like, what's Portia like? Because I never got to know her very well. She was in and out pretty quickly. She was a filler in my island for a while when I was villager hunting and I had to pause. And all Sylvana had to say was that this woman was a lawyer. So I guess that she has client attorney privilege with Sylvana. I'm gonna go ahead and put her in Claire's asbestos makeup. I don't necessarily have a soft spot in my heart for her, but it was fun to see her and Sylvana do their thing. Ketchup was a last island resident, and by last island I mean the last island before I got this one going. I liked her for a while and then I just stopped. You know when you like someone and then their behaviors slowly start to become something you hate about them? This was that with Ketchup. She was a fun friend for a little while. She was a fun person to talk to. She was exciting, she wanted to party a lot, she wanted to drink, and that was great. You know, I didn't really take part in any of that, not because I'm not cool, by the way, I'm cool. But Ketchup disappointed me. I won't lie to you, Ketchup was a disappointing person because I tried to have talks with her. I tried to say, okay, like, listen, you have to stop airing out other people's shit. You have to stop telling me to go do things for you. She was a constant person who needed something from me. If she wanted to hang out, she needed something. If she wanted to go to the coffee shop, she needed to ask me to do something. It was 100% all the time grating. Real friends of WeHo, boring. I've had Audie 3 times trying to like her, and I didn't care about her any of the times. Claire's asbestos makeup. Deirdre. Sylvana's other half, the one who stopped her from being a player. And by the way, this is a message to all the players who are nice about it. You don't ever need to settle down. Sylvana just found somebody and wanted to be with her. So these two I never saw getting together, to be honest. And then they showed up in the same area and just completely fell in love. I thought it was Sylvana doing her thing again, but Deirdre had a way of pulling people in and being such a supportive person. Me and Deirdre were great friends. We were fantastic friends, and my friendship with both Sylvana and Deirdre has so much happiness in it, and I loved seeing them grow. But Deirdre was one of the most caring people I ever got to meet. She had the biggest heart, she was the kindest human being, and that's why I think she ended up getting Sylvana. She was not interested even in dating her, but when they became good friends, they became something more. You know, they were so loving to each other, and it was really a beautiful relationship, a very beautiful example of a healthy relationship, and I'm proud of them. Okay, Sylvana's house is cherry blossoms. It's the cherry blossom trees, so spring, and Deirdre's was autumn with the falling leaves. it was written in the stars. There's spring and fall together. I'm gonna put Miss Deirdre right next to her love, but they are everything to me. I wanted to like Roald so bad. I really did. I wanted to like Roald with my whole heart. I thought that Roald was the stupidest little roundest guy, and I wanted to keep that Scrimblow energy inside of my brain for him, that exact mirror image I had in my mind, which is probably why this didn't work out, because I had already confirmed what he was going to be in my head before he even got here. Don't do that. That is not fair to that person, so a lot of this is my fault. A lot of this that I kept inside was my fault, but he didn't meet the criteria that I wanted him to meet, and so we just didn't get along. He was not the himbo I thought he would be. He was pretty stuck up and annoying, and it makes me sad. It was also my fault for expecting that of him, for putting this personality in his head and thinking that he was going to follow it. You know, don't do that for other people. People do not have to be your image of them, and I did that to Roald, and for that I really apologize, you know? I still don't like him, though. His personality was annoying, so Claire's asbestos makeup, I think. Well, that's everybody. Now you have met the rest of my enemies, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what rankings you would have changed in your own experiences with your villagers. Thank you to all of my members. They're about to go across the screen. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay wonderful. Goodbye.